In today's video, I'm doing a driving characteristic comparison between the manual WRX and the CVT WRX. If you don't know who I am and you haven't followed any of my channel, I previously owned a 2015 CVT WRX, and now I'm in my new 2016 manual WRX, and I'm going to tell you in this video a little bit about the differences and try to guide you if you're on the fence between which one you want. I think at this point I have a pretty good idea, especially after putting some miles on this car and getting a good feeling, kind of really getting to know the transmission and what it's like to drive in all the different conditions I have to drive in on a daily basis. If you're interested in seeing more WRX or automotive content, be sure to subscribe to the channel. If you haven't seen the video of my first impressions of the WRX, it's a worthwhile video to see. I think the 5 things, if you haven't seen it, the 5 things that I outline are: the manual definitely is more fun to drive when you have open road. The manual definitely feels faster. However, because it feels faster and you have more power of how you're controlling it, it's definitely underpowered and needs more power to have fun with it. And then first gear sucks and rev hang sucks. So those are the 5 first impressions, and they really are kind of all negative. I mean, the car is a great car, but because I'm using it as a fun car, I'm picking it apart a little bit more. So which is better for you, and what are the difference between the driving characteristics? Yes, I actually miss my CVT WRX just because I enjoyed driving that car as a commuter car. And I think that's the real difference between the two. The CVT is a more commuter car. It's oriented for people that don't always want to be driving manual. It's oriented for kind of convenience, and if you live in a household where you need other people to be able to drive your car if they don't know how to drive manual, where the manual WRX is, I think, purely for fun. And I mean, there's definitely instances, and there's plenty of people out there that are dailying these and they're commuting, but if you have a long city traffic commute, this is probably not the car for you. Or, you can do what I did, is I got a really cheap commuter car that I drive to and from work, and then this is my fun car, and that's probably the best way to describe the differences in these two cars. But I'm not going to leave you hanging at that. I'm going to talk a little bit more about the two cars. So the manual transmission is definitely more fun, especially when you have open road. It's kind of hard to enjoy in the city, and I've actually found that the CVT is a better option if you're in the city, because you can actually, because you don't have to deal with the first and second gear issues, which you can tune out, but because you don't have to deal with those issues, you can have a little bit more fun on the low end of the CVT. It's a little bit more peppy. You don't have to think as much when you're trying to accelerate in these short gaps, and that's just my 2 cents of experience. I think that the manual is definitely more fun, but you need the space to have fun with it. I think that if you also own the CVT WRX, there's no intent to make more power, and you kind of know what you're getting into when you sit in that car, so you're not disappointed when it doesn't deliver a ridiculous amount of power. Now, being in the manual transmission, I found that because I have this transmission that now can hold a little bit more power, I really need it to have fun with the car, because I feel like I gave up so many other things for what people were saying and what I was hoping was going to be a more fun car. And generally, it is, but I really need more power to enjoy the transmission for it to be worth that trade-off going from the CVT to the manual. Now, if the CVT wasn't a CVT and it was a dual clutch, I would tell you never buy the manual, because I hate the CVT. I mean, the CVT is what's really letting it down. And I mean, that's probably a bad thing to say, because the caveat with it being a dual clutch is that you can make more power on it. Ultimately, I think these cars are designed to make more power, and I think they need to make more power to be more fun, and that's ultimately the reason I went to the manual WRX. So as much as you want to compare them, you're talking to a CVT enthusiast, somebody that's always going to be passionate about the automatic WRXs, because I think that they are a very, very good vehicle, and I moved to a manual, and obviously there is some financial, I was able to do that and buy another car so I can commute in it, but that should give you an idea of kind of what it's like, because I am somebody that probably later in life will own another WRX that's an automatic. Hopefully it's not a CVT, but I don't know if I would write off the CVT. I would just make sure it's under warranty the whole time. So there's also something to say about the cockpit feel that you get with a manual WRX, and it has nothing to do with the actual orientation of the car. I do have to say that I have to sit closer to the wheel, and that's why I may be closer to the camera. I have kind of short legs. I mean, this car seems to have been designed for somebody that was 6 feet. I think that's the perfect range. But when I'm starting the car up, or whenever I have to throw the clutch all the way back, I seem to have to reach, so it's more comfortable for me to be a little bit closer to the wheel, which I dislike, but again, it's more comfortable just, for my legs to do that. However, with the manual WRX, you get more of a cockpit race car feel because you're so in tune with the car and what's happening, especially if you're just like, if you haven't driven manual in a while and it's not muscle memory. You really have to be aware of what's happening with the car, and you get this feeling of kind of like, you know, blinders, like horse blinders on, in a good way, that you are really aware of what's happening. You're only focused on the car, you're only focused on, you know, what's behind you, around you, and moving forward. It's a really nice feeling, and it really it changes the experience you have in the WRX. And I think that's one of the other big differences, is the experience that you're having in the WRX is definitely different, because in the automatic WRX, you still have that convenience, which almost dulls out the experience a little bit. And sometimes it's a good thing. Like, I'm not saying that's in a bad way. I'm just saying that it's a little bit less connected. Where in the manual WRX, you're a little bit more connected to the experience of driving. And I hope that helps describe the big difference between the two. So if you've done what I've done and switched from the CVT to the manual, or vice versa, gone from the manual to the CVT, please drop it in the comment section below. What do you think? Did you have the same experience? And if you drive one or the other, what draws you to owning that specific car? I'd love to hear it. I think everyone else would love to hear it. And if you found this video useful or enjoyable, please give it a thumbs up. I know it's just a driving in the car video, and I just thought I would make this video because I had the time. I was taking it to work. And yeah, so if you're still here and you're interested in the channel, basically my platform and what I plan to do is every once in a while I'm going to do videos like this, driving the car, but as it warms up, we're going to be doing a lot more exterior content. We're going to be building the car, walking you through how to build it, testing out parts. You know, a big thing is I want to test out kind of inexpensive product. I think the car game is insanely expensive, and that there are manufacturers out there that make quality parts and they don't cost that much money. So I'm going to be the dummy, the guinea pig, and put all those in my car, and hopefully be able to give you a yes or no and see if you can also modify your car on a budget. So I hope that entices you to follow the channel. I think there's some cool stuff, and we're going to be reviewing some other cars. This channel is going to turn more into kind of a tuners channel, and I'm going to focus less on stock cars and much more on making power and cars that are fun to drive. Well, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate you sticking through the video.